Okay, this is just gonna be a quick video explaining basic concepts in tactical shooters, and especially in Valorant. So first thing first is default. So the whole concept of a default is that you're covering. You do this when you're playing against usually very aggressive teams. So they are gonna push into you, and when you're holding the angle as an attacker or defender, you have the advantage. There's obviously peeker's advantage, but like it's not as prevalent as people think it is, especially when it comes to just generally good habits. So like this is pretty much what I'll tell you how to not bait people, provide useful information, also not die, and then not play too aggressive while playing a default. So let's usually the default on ascent is 3B 3A, or if you have a smoke, usually you can have like 2 mid and then 2B and then or 2B or 2A. You can defaults are like flexible too. It's just a general concept you have to understand when playing this game. So when you're playing the default, your job is not to go in and then take a pick. That's not defaulting. That's aggressive playing, right? That's going for a pick. So when you're playing defaulting, what you want to do is you want to play a safe angle. You don't need an angle that can that 100% gets you a kill, right? If you hold a close choke like this, a lot of times if they're like hard peeking you, you're not gonna get the kill. But more importantly, than the kill, like the whole point of defaulting is you get information. So let's say someone decided to hard wide swing you. Okay, they're not jiggle peeking you; they're hard swinging, right? So you can obviously see them do that, and you can fall back and you can call for info, right? They're in a very awkward spot. You can use molly, like you can call for teammates. Like usually that's why it usually takes two to hold a default. So let's say like this person, well yeah, okay. Let's say your silver drone is droning in, right, for information gathering. You as the person here, you can even play a bit further back if you want, but then like the um you get flash a bit more easily, which will explain anti-flash spots later too. But pretty much US here, you get the info that someone's swinging, your Sova can cancel the drone immediately, and you help your Sova out. It doesn't have to be Sova. It could be like someone else as well. It could be like the guy playing mid link watching cat. You give them information that someone's watching, that someone's coming B halls, and they can come around and help you, right? You can either force them back, because usually when someone pushes, they push with utility, so you just waste their utility for free, or you can get the kill and trap them in there and take a 2-on-1 fight. And when on T side, 1-for-1 trades always favor the T side because the CT set to cover more side of the map. So that's why defaults are very strong. Like why like the first thing you must do when establishing like good team play is having a good default. So this is a position that I think is really good. The reason why I don't play back here, again, like I mentioned before, is because you can get flash easily. Some people like to flash like really high or a lot to the right. Whereas if you're holding like a close corner like this, even though like you get less time to react because you're holding a shorter angle, you can just like if you hear a flash, literally every single flash in the game, you can literally just get run away. And if it's Reynas, you can fall back and then like you have another player playing B link shoot it for you, or if someone's playing close, you can shoot it for them while they peek, right? So you're pretty much playing this corner right here. You don't have to worry about flashes at all, and you can also be helpful for your teammates instead of playing a corner like this where you're actually being a complete liability. You're being useless to your team. You're not giving any information, and you're not helping anybody out, right? There's no reason to play a spot like this. There's no reason to play spots like this. There's no way they flank you this early, and then you should have someone be link usually when you're playing default, right? So play. It's a general concept. You don't. It's not always just like, hey, this angle right here, play this every single round. But when you're playing default, you want to play a position like that can either get like, yeah, that can get you information, and if they push really aggressively, it can net you a kill, right? So let's say you're one man doing a default, it's different. If you're not supporting anyone, info is also important, so you can still play that spot. But let's say you're a lurker, and then or you're solo defaulting on a site, you can just hold a really like off angle like this that they won't check, because usually when someone comes out, right, when someone comes out of B hall, like if you have good habit, they're checking this like this way because they can see the enemy if they're playing there, so that's not really a problem. But then they're like checking T spawn, and then their crosshair is swinging towards mid. Like you're somewhere in between, and then you see them way before they see you, right? At this point, like you can see them, and they're checking here. Like usually, maybe they can play this, like come around this side, and be better for them. But then like yeah, you're still playing off angle, and they push too far, this is still a good kill. Like obviously this spot's not perfect. You can also hold it like this, right? This is like probably better if you have cat smoked, or if your teammate has mid control. Like even somewhere here, right? Like this is probably really good if you have mid control. You just need a teammate to like have a plan that's going mid, and you hold this corner. You can probably even get the kill. They're like at that point they're not checking you, right? Yeah, so you can get the kill right there, or even if you like when you're defaulting, don't be too greedy for the kill. If you whiff the first few bullets, just fall back. Info is more important than you dying. Don't take unnecessary gunfights when doing defaults. Yeah, let's just show some other example. Let's say you have mid smoked off, right? Your defaulting should not be standing back in T spawn, standing top mid right here. Like unless you're the opper holding a corner, like there's no reason for you to like when defaulting. You shouldn't stay behind the opper. You should push up push up with the opper, and the opper obviously have longer range, so they should be like the most in the back, right? So when you're like, let's say mid is smoked off, and then maybe cat is smoked off, as a team you can like push up all the way to here, and then you can set up your utility. Let's say you have an aftershock, you can clear that corner, and this way you have cat control, and then the enemy team either has to expand utility to get cat back, or like eventually you're gonna have a really easy pop into A, because not only can you split onto A site, heaven becomes availability if window's broken, where you can even break the window. Usually it takes them too long to react. And you have like hard flank. Like if you can check CT and then you can go up heaven, right? Or you can like if your teammates already cleared the site with everybody, then you can just like you can sit in this corner, right? Post plan, you can just get a fast flank on people. So like defaulting is not always just sitting where your spawn point is. You also like large map with many choke points. Sometimes it's defaulting requires taking map control too. Yeah, and once you take mid, in order, as long as you have an opper posted here, even if you don't have an opper, usually it requires a lot of resources from enemy CTs if they want to retake it, and most pro teams just don't retake it. Like once this is smoked off and you have mid control, it's so hard for the enemy CTs to retake the site. So this gives you such a big advantage, because now at this point you can honestly like you spam this part, like make sure no one's like sitting there maybe, and then you can like you have breach flash over, maybe like there's like a silver arrow that clears part of the market like this. You just line it up somewhere up like right there, and max charge. Yeah, lens ran the lamp, and then that can clear out some part of the side too. You can take that control and then get a split onto B, like through market. Like you probably want 2 or 3 people pushing out mid, but because usually people don't like play like 2 mid and 1 B, right? So like mid control into B makes B side significantly easier to take. And obviously already the previous example is going up cat, and then A split becomes such a great option for taking A side, because A side players are already like having in a very tough situation. Like Sage can ice wall it early in the round. Like you can, there's a whole bunch of ways to take A main. It's super hard for CT side to contest A main, and so they're usually just playing backside, or they're sometimes even playing like 2 cat just to stop cat, right? So like once you're on site and you already have the flank, A split just becomes like by far the best option. And if you're playing, yeah, just show you like a few default spots on A as well. Like obviously this is a good anti-flash spot. Like you wait, pretty much the purpose of, you only play anti-flash spots if you're playing with someone else in your default, if you have another player on your default. So you can play anti-flash, and maybe they're playing like a corner. Yeah, this got changed recently, but like maybe they're up there, or like they're holding a corner like this, right? This is kind of good anti-flash too, but let's say they're holding a close corner. Let's say it's another Sova situation. Usually they should be holding an angle with you. But yeah, let's say it's another Sova situation. Usually people like like anybody with like any good team will usually flash before peeking this spot. And if it's a hard flank, then you know like this person should be watching it, right? Like they can't. This is not usually a clear spot, and they get the first shot off. But like let's say someone's watching that corner, they get flashed off, breach flash right there. They're fully blind, and this is the moment you strike when you're playing an anti-flash position. The moment the flash pop, you can swing, and then they'll expect everybody to be fully blind, and you're here watching this angle, and you can spray them down. This should be a really easy fight. And when you're playing anti-flash, you have to take the fight. like you shouldn't be like taking a few shots, miss, and then whiff hiding in the corner. Because first of all, this angle is really bad for you to take a fight in again. Like when you peek out, like they're gonna see you way before you see them, and also you're leaving your teammates to try. But even if you don't get the kill, like you had to force to fall off, you kind of did your job. Because the person was flashed now after that like 2 second engagement, he has his vision again. He can swing and help you out. And this way, you just minimize like having a good default on every map. Minimize like enemy aggression so hard. Like a lot of teams, like obviously Cypher has a high pick rate right now, and then Cypher's biggest job on the T side is to eliminate like the reason to do a default. But like obviously if you don't have a Cypher on your team, and even with a Cypher on your team, just getting free picks, you can pretty much win the round like this, especially on a map like Ascent. Like let's say you get a pick onto A, right? Like there's usually only maximum 2 players playing A. Like one's on cat and one's on A side. And then so your team can just rush on. They're not gonna literally the moment you get a pick, you rush in. They're not gonna have time to rotate, right? So like if you're doing your default well, you can just like push onto site, and you don't even have to push onto site. Just having a 5v4 and continue to hold default, like holding a default while you have advantage, is such a good thing to do. Because like when the CT sides are behind, they're gonna try and make a play to make it up. Because then if you execute onto a 2-man or 1-man bomb site, it's gonna be significantly worse for them, right? For example, now they don't have like, let's say someone on A died. Now at maximum they can play 1 mid, and because they kind of need 1 cat and they need one onto A site. So because of that, now you realize, like you think, and you realize, hey, B side at maximum is 1 person holding it, 1 person's mid. So if we can take mid control, this is a free round, right? If you like trade with the person mid, even if it's a 2-for-1, he gets 2 kills, you trade the guy mid. It's a 3-on-1 for the B bomb site, and you take the B bomb site, and it's a post plant. And then post plant situations become significantly easier.